It is exceptionally difficult to become a millionaire even if $1 million is worth 9x less now than 50 years ago due to inflation. If it were easy to become a millionaire, would anyone really be searching on YouTube constantly? When this question is asked, a few things in context can be assumed. 1. You're already living in a wealthy Western nation with equal opportunities. 2. You're not asking about how to save and invest your way to $1 million over a period of 45 plus years with a consistent 7% annual return. 3. You're referring to 1 million in US dollar value, not Venezuelan currency. 4. You're referring to cash in the bank and not simply declaring a random painting or house you own to be worth $1 million. 5. Your family aren't already billionaires or millionaires with powerful business or political connections and influence. 6. You don't already have even $10,000 in the bank as your starting budget to start a business. 7. You're not looking for a vanity answer such as marry a rich man or woman. Money is probably harder to earn than ever before in the past 50 years, but at the same time, I believe there are more opportunities than ever available before, if you know where to look, so it sort of balances out the equation in terms of opportunities available but doesn't balance the distribution of wealth. I am currently on my 5th full-time business venture since I started my first one 12 years ago. I have had various degrees of success with my past 4 ventures ranging from absolute failure to moderate success but never enough to become a millionaire yet. This is the inconvenient truth of the grim reality I've discovered. The media loves to celebrate those rare cases of wild success because it sells advertising space. Everyone wants to hear about how a deserving grandmother working 3 jobs won the record lottery or how some first-time genius came up with a new innovative overnight sensation that anyone could have thought of. The Swiffer comes to mind. Nobody wants to read about how it took 25 years to gradually build up a business and in the process caused 4 bankruptcies, loss of lifelong friendships, 2 divorces and kids who grew up to either hate or were estranged from their parents. As Mark Zuckerberg even said himself, the drama film The Social Network has very little to do with reality. Most of Facebook's success came from thousands of man-hours writing and staring at computer code and doing little else. If someone tries to tell you that they have an easy shortcut to becoming a millionaire, either it's not very savory, not legal, or it's not something you will prefer to enthusiastically do. The unspoken truth is that everyone struggles no matter their position or status. The grass is always greener on the other side. Until you reach the other side. Then you realize that there is no such thing as an easy life, just a more comfortable version of hell. The easy access to a casual supply of a mass-educated population means that my girlfriend, who has 2 related master's degrees, is considered lucky, by many people in her field, to be earning just slightly above minimum wage doing the job she studied and trained for in school instead of being underemployed or unemployed. 3. Nobody ever became rich being a day trader. Maybe someone out there has made $1 million once if they started with $1 billion, but you probably have equal chances of winning the lottery or hitting the jackpot at a casino if you're starting out with just a paltry sum to day trade. 3. That stuff only exists in fantasy Hollywood movies like Limitless that have no bearing in real life. 3. No human can beat automated high-frequency trading algorithms. 3. If you invest, go long-term, but even then, don't have unrealistically high expectations. My employers weren't rich. The employees were better paid than they were. They were probably close to not being able to keep their lights on more than a few times, but short-term bridging loans from the bank prevented this from happening. Many local retail computer stores in my city gradually disappeared this way. They simply ran out of money while trying to survive on razor-thin margins, and there is currently just one single major retail chain left standing that everyone is forced to shop at due to lack of alternative options. You have to realize that you're not the only one trying to become a millionaire. There are hundreds of millions of others around the world also trying to compete for those same dollars in the consumer wallet, and they are just as equally capable as you are. The difficulty in you becoming a millionaire is directly relational to how hard they try to become a millionaire. Here's a simple business that earns a lot of money, supplying bananas to grocery stores. However, how do you even start looking to buy them from farmers? Where do you get the money to buy the bananas? How do you transport and store them, and how do you convince grocery stores to switch to your bananas when there is already a well-established and reputed competitor solidly in place? Everyone only has the same precious 24 hours in a day, and they may talk about wanting to run that marathon race or go volunteer somewhere, but after working that soul-sucking 9-to-5 job with an additional 3-hour average daily commute, they come home to a house where they need to spend 2 hours cooking and washing the dishes and maybe clean the house. They also need 8 hours of sleep to rejuvenate so they can repeat the process tomorrow, and they barely have time to spend with their kids, which they try to reserve their short 48-hour weekends for. You have to overcome huge resistance and persuade these people to buy your product or service. Even if customers want your product or service, you have to justify why your product or service costs so much, and they can easily smell BS. Nobody simply wants to get just what they pay for. What people don't know about are the massive life decision gambles, risk and personal sacrifices on the pathway I went through just to even earn a decent middle-class lifestyle. Random timing, chance and plain dumb luck in my life had a lot to do with it. There were a few moments in my life that it could easily have not worked out and I wouldn't have reached that far. 1. The reality for me is that even though I was considered to be in the top 10% of earners in the country, my salary's purchasing power can buy far, far less, relative to the top 10% from 50 years ago. 2. Nothing is guaranteed. There is no secret formula or set pathway that ensures success happens no matter how much you prepare and fight for a chance to succeed. 3. Maybe it could have made you a millionaire once upon a time, but contrary to popular belief, a hard work ethic is just a very basic requirement and doesn't guarantee anything in return today. 4. Hard work is not always a value add. 5. If hard work could make you a millionaire, every ditch digger and woman in Africa would be a millionaire. You can work until the skin falls off your bones and still not be a millionaire. This question's answer is obvious in my mind. How come nobody ever asks how hard it is to become middle class instead? I know this is probably not what you expected or wanted to hear, but it's as truthful and honest as you'll ever get to hear. This answer probably won't get hundreds of upvotes like those motivational self-help answers with pretty stock pictures full of beautiful smiling people and photos of private jets trying to sell you fantasies and dreams, but it's the inconvenient truth you wanted to know. Trust me, I'm leveraging all my life's advantages, utilizing everything I know, everything I have access to, connecting with everyone I meet, and committing all my brain power and efforts to try to reach this elusive goal as a personal life challenge, and it is hard to achieve. It's not as simple as go to school, learn lots of advanced knowledge, meet the right people, and you'll be rich. If it was that easy, fast, risk-free, or there was some sort of secret formula, I would have reached it a long time ago already. That is the simplified version of how I understand the last recession occurred. Predatory mortgage lending companies enticed economically disadvantaged people to buy houses by taking on mortgages they could not afford. Then these predatory lending companies turned around and packaged those mortgage debts into complex financial instruments and sold them at steep discounts to unsuspecting banks who thought of these products as wise investments. These banks with names like Lehman Brothers at some point realized they had traded all their customers' cash for worthless complex financial instruments that sounded good on paper only, but there was no way to collect on the mortgages when they asked these new homeowners for monthly payments. With no other choice, the banks came clean and announced they were bankrupt and had lost many customers' deposits, causing widespread panic and chaos across the world's tightly integrated supply chains, where even a little unexpected upset had disastrous ripple effects. Telling the public was a mistake that sparked the recession, and we still feel the ripple effects even today, a decade later. If I were in command, I would prevent anyone from calling the bluff and quietly order the banks to arrange for alternative housing for the victims, foreclose their homes, and salvage back what was possible as discreetly as possible to prevent such a massive world-changing recession from happening. I would also quietly then close any loopholes that allowed this to legally happen and send the full force of the law after the predatory lending companies to send a clear message to other potential copycats threatening the international economic status quo with their greed. Everyone just needs to believe they're still wealthy. It would be the ultimate financial scandal nobody is allowed to know about as the lesser evil than the dire consequences of revealing the truth. Anyways, this is why it is exceptionally difficult to become a millionaire when considering that there is a middle-class squeeze where it's hard to even score a decent job in this economy without having an Olympic effort of skill, while it is also equally difficult to succeed in business, as well as all the crushing economic pressures and financial fraud in dog-eat-dog capitalism. There's no easy way out. Even challenges like outsourcing to foreign workers may one day be overtaken by more efficient AI, automation and tech simplification, so even foreign workforces would no longer be required. It is not impossible to become a millionaire, and from all my years of experience, I've gathered these important points that will help you succeed at whatever you wish to try. I talk about some of my experience with these points in some of my other answers. Good planning, preparation and experience. Grit and perseverance. Find a niche type of customer you target and serve. The value add of your product/service. Low overhead expenses. Good luck.